The Jacobson Report is sponsored by Jim and Cindy Jandren through Midwest Renewable Energy LLC, ethanol renewable fuels out of eastern Nebraska. Energy for a strong America is lean, it's clean, and it's green. Protecting farm families across America with revenue vectors, making us less reliant on Mideast terror dollars, and making sure our food supply is in the hands of Americans, not corporate concentrationists. Midwest Renewable Energy LLC, Energy for a Strong America, and also sponsored by Jim and Cindy Jandren and their largesse for Life Runners. Go to liferunners.org, get your t-shirt, Run and Walk for Life, like my bride, the lovely and gracious Deborah Jacobson. Liferunners.org builds a culture of life, protecting life from womb to tomb, especially helping our expectant mothers and babies on the way in utero, including after they are born. Midwest Renewable Energy LLC and liferunners.org. Liferunners.org, helping mothers, expectant mothers and babies in the womb and on the way and after they are born. Welcome! It's prime time Sunday night here on the East Central Plains of Kansas on the Blowtorch, your country giant. 1220 KOFO 1037 FM and streaming worldwide on KOFO.com. And of course, I, John Jacobson, am here with engineering excellence Blake Griffin, the home and away voice of the Ottawa Braves, as well as engineer Sean Torres. They will have this podcast up very soon after. And folks, grab that podcast because this is wonderful programming. Tonight, our focus on this beautiful January 12th baptism of our Lord Jesus Christ, the big celebration today for many Christians, the last official day in the Christmas calendar. And we're going to have a lot of fun tonight on the sports beat. We are, after all, also Blake Griffin, the home and away voice of the Kansas City Royals. Tonight's great focus is on sports. We're going to be talking some college football, NFL, WNBA, and college hoops. And here is our McLaughlin-style lineup tonight. Welcoming back our regular co-host, Coach Patrick J. Knapp Jr., the Georgetown legend, the man who, from his perch in D.C., the media capital and the seat of government, helped to raise women's collegiate sports to parity under Title IX and led the Georgetown women while graduating all in every circumstance up and down the East Coast in the Big East, leading Georgetown to deep dives, both with the Big East Championship, a deep run in the NCAA tournament, and a top 10 national finish. Now Coach still is a big shot administrator at New Mexico State University while doing play-by-play and color on ESPN in our Southwest. We have Jacob Hall with us. Jacob Hall, as many later on journalists are in the news vector, he started in sports, so he's wearing his sports cap again. He's the conservative, kinder, gentler version of Keith Olbermann, running the Iowa Standard, the most popular political journalism and commentary blog in the Midwest. And Craig Bergman, super entrepreneur, film producer, former bank senior vice president, cryptocurrency expert, and absolute master in political consulting. He has done some things at the national level that would blow your mind. And our very own home and away voice of the Braves here, Blake Griffin. Guys, issue 1, college football, the finalists set, 2 titans of college football historicity, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the Ohio State Buckeyes will tee it up on the trifecta day of excellence, January 20, MLK Day, President Trump's re-inauguration, and a college football game at night. Coach Knapp, who's going to win that game?
Well, it's probably going to be Ohio State, John. Notre Dame has yet sustained another injury. Their right tackle, Antonio Knapp, no namesake, but I love the name. He is out with a high ankle sprain. Notre Dame will dig deeply into its bench once again. Notre Dame's going to need its best defensive effort and most likely a touchdown on defense to even be in the ball game in the fourth quarter. I think Ohio State is a 9.5-point favorite right now, and they look poised to win it all.
Coach, before I go to our other panelists here, Coach, you're a Philadelphia guy. We can tell from the voice. You're part Frank Rizzo and part Philadelphia Flyer and part Rocky Balboa. Coach, you were saying last week, depending on which neighborhood you're in Philly, they may have needed law enforcement for that game involving the guys last week.
Yeah, Notre Dame versus Penn State,
yes.
Philadelphia, heavy Penn State and Catholic area. So it was, I didn't see the rating. I thought I would hear one on the Philadelphia sports shows, but I'll bet you the rating was high in the state of Pennsylvania.
I bet it was. Let's go to you, Jacob Hall. Now, Jacob, I don't know if you know this, but my maternal grandfather was a fundraiser for Knute Rockne along the Mississippi River, Clinton and Dubuque, Iowa in the 1920s. Of course, I've soured on the Irish ever since they cheated Iowa out of that football win in 1953 with the fainting Irish. And then their leftward tilt as a university. I mean, for crying out loud, they gave us Amy Coney Barrett and the Buttigiegs. Is that enough? I'm rooting for the Ohio State, but who's going to win that game? Jacob Hall.
Yeah, I find it very difficult to see Notre Dame being able to beat Ohio State. But to be fair, I also found it unlikely that they would beat Penn State.
Yeah.
So I do think that they're playing well. They play hard for the coach, and if they can keep it close now, you know, that the fun thing about these two teams is they've both gone through tight games decided in the fourth quarter during this college football playoff. So they're going to be accustomed to the pressure. And boy, I was a lot more dangerously close to being wrong on both semifinals than I cared to be if Texas doesn't try that sweep on first and goal from the one or whatever it was and lose 7 yards. That's a play they're going to be talking about. But I am glad to see somebody from the Big Ten representing in this first go around. And boy, it's just unfortunate not to see an SEC team in there.
You said that with a little sardonic wit, I think.
I'm just surprised ESPN signed off on it, John.
Craig Bergman, welcome back to the show. Blake Griffin is laughing his head off here in studio. Can't wait to get Blake's takes. Craig Bergman, what say you?
Well, you know I am big on Our Lady, and despite her heretical leanings of late, you know, it's been 37 years since Notre Dame has won a national championship. It's one of the longest droughts, and yet they still hold 11 of them. This would make a perfect dozen. And I have to take a segue here. I think there's something in the water happening with Notre Dame, or something in the spirit, because the ladies in basketball have done the same exact thing that the football men have done all season, and that is be underrated and beat top teams. And so I'm going to go with the wild card, the undercard. I'm going to be the outlier on here and pray for a Hail Mary. And I'm going to say Notre Dame pulls off the upset.
Wow. Well, you know, Craig, I love Our Lady, and her theology is always great. It's that university that's wandered from some of what I think she has stood for. I won't go into all my recriminations against Notre Dame's administration with some of the liberal things and
they're pretty bad.
and things that are not in tune with the Catholic identity. So I love Our Lady. I'm sad they've still got her name appropriated, but you know, there are some good stirrings going on there among the Sensus Fidelium, the folks on the ground there that are pushing back against the administration. So there are some good things going on there. Before I go to Blake here, though, Coach, you started out with that Notre Dame women's program. Talk about what Craig just alluded to about the women fighting Irish.
Yes, Hannah Hidalgo, their starting point guard and shooting guard, is from South Jersey. We kind of claim her Philly and South Jersey. We kind of put together in the sports universe out there. She's one of the top players in the country, and she is leading the Irish I believe the last time I looked, number 3 ranking in the country. They did beat UConn already. They're gonna be in the Final 8 for sure. So Notre Dame women's basketball is on the not on the rise. They are one of the top teams in the country.
Coach, what was your early nexus with the Fighting Irish?
Well, I left high school basketball in Philly in 1980 to become the top assistant for Mary DeStanislaw and Notre Dame women in 1980. We were Division II at that time, and we took a leap to D1 in that first year. We went 10-7. We went 10-17, and we played some of the best teams in the country. It was crazy. Digger Phelps, believe it or not, was director of basketball operations for both programs, men and women. He hired Mary. He brought us our staff in. He funded the program. The next year I think we went 15-12, and the year after that we went 20-7. So we steadily improved. Muffet McGraw didn't come till 1987, and that's all she wrote. Muffet, of course, is in the Hall of Fame and won 2 national titles with the Irish.
Coach, 30 years ago, you were making that deep run into the NCAAs, including a great win over Penn State as well as Northern Illinois in that top 10 finish that you had. Blake Griffin, you're an outsider looking in here. Ottawa's black and gold like my Iowa Hawkeyes. But you don't share the history that Iowa Notre Dame have had, not only that fainting Irish game of 53, but the canceled game after the JFK assassination. A lot of history in that series, but we're talking the Ohio State University and Notre Dame. It's not Woody Hayes versus Ara Parseghian, because you're a young buck. What do you say? Who's going to win this game, Blake?
It's probably. I'm going to have to give the edge to Ohio State. Unfortunately, as much as the Notre Dame fight song rings in my head more times than I'd like to admit, as a family that's more USC fans than anything else, I think Ohio State's going to have the edge. They seem a different story under Ryan Day over the last couple of weeks. There's a couple of losses on both sides that look not so good, so both teams can throw a dud. Notre Dame didn't look good against Northern Illinois, and Ohio State didn't look good against Michigan. So there's definitely room for some duds to be thrown, but I think Ohio State's looked the better team over the last couple of weeks.
And before we segue into issue 2, Jacobson's opine as we end issue 1. The Indiana Hoosiers got a bad rap. They did belong in the playoffs. There are only 2 losses to the Ohio State University and to Notre Dame. Issue 2, NFL playoffs. We are in Chiefs country here. You're probably hearing a tomahawk chop in the background and some more drums, but everybody within the sound of our voice rooting for the Chiefs. I turn to Coach Patrick J. Knapp Jr. Chiefs are off today. They've got that bye. Can they do 3 in a row? I know everybody always touts the only team to win 3 consecutive Super Bowls potentially, but don't forget, Lombardi de facto did it with his 3 straight NFL championships in the 65, 6, and 7 seasons with Bart Starr at the helm. Coach, talk about the playoff hunt in the NFL.
Well, the Chiefs are the champs, returning champs, and they'll be rated number 1 until they lose. I believe last time we talked about this on our show, I talked about the Chiefs and Buffalo being at the top of the heap. I need to add a team there. The Baltimore Ravens are streaking. They're extremely dangerous. Lamar Jackson probably will win his 3rd MVP. They have a tremendous running game. They lost by a point first game of the year at Kansas City. They are chomping at the bit for that rematch. Watch out. Right now, the Chiefs will play the remaining lowest seed in the playoffs because they reseed as they start playing. And right now, that looks to be Houston, which will be no joke. Their defense obliterated the Chargers the other day, 32-12.
4 INTs.
Defensive day.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 INTs and 4 sacks on Justin Herbert. That's correct.
Great take, Coach. Jacob Hall, are you a fellow Chief like we all are down here down on I-29 from you up there in Sioux City?
Yeah, it's the old Ric Flair adage: in order to beat the man, in order to be the man, you have to beat the man. And until somebody beats Kansas City, I just don't know how you can realistically pick against them. Although I got to be honest, as Coach said, when you have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in the backfield, just be glad Zay Flowers is hurt, assuming he's not able to come back. And I really think the Chiefs' biggest advantage is Baltimore and Buffalo more than likely will be beating each other up the week before. And Houston outside, away from their dome, C.J. Stroud in his second year, they played really well yesterday, but I just don't know that that's going to travel with them to Kansas City. And if I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm feeling pretty good about it right now.
That's a great take, Jacob. Craig Bergman, you're talking to thousands of Chiefs fans listening in. What say you?
Well, I'm going to be the outlier again and rain on the parade. Buffalo is the man. They've already beaten the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are a paper tiger. They have won several close games by close calls, and they are nowhere near what's happening in reality to the grounding and pounding that Buffalo and the Ravens and even the Texans have had to put up with. Now, I agree with everyone who says the Texans aren't going to bring their A game. They don't have an A game. And I also agree that the Bills-Ravens game is going to be the one to watch. But this is not a Kansas City dominant team that swept through all these, 800-plus ranked teams and won easily. This is a team that nearly choked to Denver. This is a team that, just has been squirrely all year long. And I am a big old-fashioned Patriots and Vikings fan. So anybody but the Chiefs this year.
And who's going to win the playoff run here, Blake Griffin?
Hard to pick against the Chiefs. I do think the Ravens might be the best equipped team to take down this Chiefs dynasty. Lamar Jackson is the best he's been in his entire career. He's looking the most like a quarterback he's looked ever in his career, and he's running the football better than he's ever run in his entire career. So that's going to be a shootout that I'm going to be looking forward to. I think if any team beats them, it's them. If they end up with a Lions matchup in the Super Bowl, I think Dan Campbell is an absolute madman, and I think if anybody on the NFC side could take them down, it'd be the Lions. But again, good teams win in good situations, and this Chiefs team has the pedigree.
Jacobson's outro on issue 3 is as follows. Several former Georgetown alumni, graduate women who played basketball for Coach Patrick J. Knapp Jr. are in the crucible of the inferno in Los Angeles. Both are reacting with great poise, leadership, organization, stick-to-itiveness, and are very adroitly multitasking to handle the crises of maintaining jobs, getting medical care for loved ones, relocating. Some now have been in 4 different geographic locations in the last week. They attribute some of that to what Coach Knapp taught them while at Georgetown. Coach, pretty heady praise, isn't it?
Yeah, John, we've been in touch about what those 2 young ladies who are very successful professionals now.
Yep.
Living out in the L.A. area, Santa Monica and Griffith Park. And my understanding is that everything's gone or just about gone. And they've been hopping from home to home to escape the fire and the smoke. And you just, my heart goes out to them. I know the whole Georgetown community on my side of women's basketball has been in touch and with prayer for them this entire time.
Yeah, Coach Napa, well said, my friend. Finally, issue 4, lightning round, college hoops. Want you guys to opine with some laser beam on Big 12. We are the home and away voice of the Braves, but Fog Allen Fieldhouse, just 13 minutes north of us here. Rock Chalk Jayhawk. How are the Jayhawks going to end up here at the end of the year? And anything happening on the women's side? I'll start with you, Blake Griffin. What say you?
I'm a big fan of KU, of course, but I think I've been doing a lot of looking at the SEC this year because I've got family down in Knoxville, looking down at good old Rocky Top. I think Auburn's the better team down there, and I think Duke this year with their freshman and Cooper Flag are going to make a very interesting run. They look better than they did with the other group of freshmen with Zion Williamson back in the day. They're a deeper team, they're a more efficient team, and they're one to look out for. I would circle Duke and Auburn probably as my two favorites at this time.
Thank you, Blake. Jacob Hall, you follow that Iowa State Big 12 team. Are they looking to be a championship contender in the conference?
Oh yeah, quite a convincing win yesterday at Texas Tech by 1 point in overtime. But when you look at the Iowa State men's basketball team, I think we're going to learn a lot this week here as they host the Jayhawks coming up.
Yes, they do.
That is the first week of the legislative session, so there is a temptation to venture on up to Ames to take that game in. And I guess we're going to – I think the Big 12, for everything that everyone said about them during the football season, I think it's going to be a heck of a basketball season. I think it's going to be competitive. I know the Big 12 tournament's going to test every one of those teams before they get to March Madness. And I have to, and I'm not even a Cyclone fan, but, in this era where the players come and go so fast, once I learn all their names, I'm going to have to back the Cyclones.
Hey, Jacob, admit it. You miss me in that state capitol rotunda, don't you? You miss me not being there.
Oh, the first week is real rough, John. You know that as better as anybody. So a
Berg-
little Iowa State, Kansas men's basketball will be a good break.
I think so. Bergman, admit it. You miss me too. But talk about Big 12 basketball after you admit that you miss me down there in the rotunda.
Well, I totally miss you in Iowa. You should definitely come back and run for higher office. But I'm going to have to be the outlier 4 in a row on you today because I don't really follow much on the Big 12, never have, don't have anything to offer against the experts. So I'm going to pivot back to women in college, and I'm going to hit 2 or 3 things that people need to know that come out of my prediction realm, and we'll just put it out there. I like to go out on a limb, saw the end off, and either levitate or crash to the ground and take the risk.
Well, go for it. You get the final word, other than we know Audie Crooks is a heck of a player for the Cyclones, but continue.
She is, but they're not ranked anymore.
No.
And, you can have one good player and go nowhere.
Yep.
And that's what I want to say about Paige is I think her reputation precedes her, not precedes her, and her best days were in the past. I think coming back from that injury, she doesn't have the same step, tenacity, everything that everyone talks about her being the generational player is not going to materialize. I definitely think Olivia Miles is superior, the number 1 pick, and whoever gets her is going to just do that. I'm going to put it this way because comparisons are where things are at. Paige trying to go to Los Angeles is going to be the next Cameron Brink and just not pan out for the team. And there's the one you mentioned at the very start of the program from TCU, Haley Van Lith, who is not even listed in any of the top 25 mock draft picks. Whoever picks her, she's the Kate Martin of 2025, the surprise sleeper hit.
Wow.
And so that's my basketball college.
That's huge. I do agree. Olivia Miles is an absolute rock star there. And Coach, I want to go back to you. You know Coach Gino from UConn. Isn't he coming up on your podcast? And tell us where we can catch your podcast.
Yeah, Gino will be on it. We're looking at a week where he has only one game in February. Play-by-play on iHeart, on Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcast. We'll have him on in February right now, tentatively. But, yeah, I know Gino well. I know the injury woes that they've suffered the last several years, not only with Fudd but with Paige Beckers. I think there are several players right now in the NCAA women's realm that are better than Paige. But I'm going to tell you what, the kid outworks everybody. She's still a dead-eye shooter, which is a big commodity in college or pro basketball. And whoever drafts her will get a good one, a real good one. When we stay with the Big 12 and staying with our local teams, KU and Kansas State, let me tell you, Kansas State's in trouble, man. 1-3 in the league, 7-8 overall. They got smoked by Houston yesterday. I would venture to say that the top 4 or 5 teams in the country, Iowa State and Houston, are right up there. KU, to me, is probably outside of that top 5, but just outside of it. And don't be surprised if Houston's in the Final Four, finally, with that program. They have smothering defense, and they what did they do? They held Houston. They forced 15 turnovers against K-State, and they scored 52 points in the paint. It wasn't a ball game. The 2 players at K-State has to worry about Coleman Hawkins against, again, their $1 million baby. 3 for 5, 7 points, 5 turnovers, and 1 technical. Not good enough, Coleman. And Duke McDaniel, who I know personally from his days at Michigan, and he's a transfer from Michigan, has not come through either. They're in trouble. KU, however, like Jacob, I think it was, said, will be tested this week when they go up to Iowa State. KU has not been scoring like Bill Self would like. They've had several games where they've struggled. I think Iowa State wins that ball game coming up this week.
Wow, great take by Coach there. And it's Blake Griffin. We're going to conclude the show here. What a fantastic round. Blake, when I was your age, Houston had a guy named Elijah and Guy Lewis was on the bench chewing towels.
By Slamma Jamma.
You don't remember those personally, but Blake, you're on the mic tomorrow night. I'm merely the PA announcer in Wilson Fieldhouse. You're caroming across the plains with the play-by-play. How can they catch your broadcast of both the men's and women's doubleheader against Avila tomorrow night, Monday?
We'll kick off pregame for women at 4:50. That's Central Time, 7 o'clock for the men's game, or whenever, depending on when the game ends. It's set for 7 o'clock tip. We'll be here on KOFO, 1220, 103.7 FM, KOFO.com. If you want to watch the live stream as well, it's on the Brave Sports Network or the KCAC Network.
And Blake, are you pausing and carrying live my inimitable introduction of the starting lineups? Just asking for fun.
I think they hear you in the background just fine. Sometimes, I feel like you're louder than I am.
Guys, this has been an awesome show. We got to bring back this foursome again. This foursome has chemistry, Blake Griffin. What do you think?
I'm having a great time.
Yeah, Coach Patrick J. Knapp Jr., Jacob Hall, Craig Bergman. You can catch Jacob Hall stuff on the Iowa Standard. Coach, what's the name of your podcast?
Play-by-play.
And Jacob is on the Iowa Standard. And Craig Bergman, you're on Facebook with a lot of Bitcoin ingenuity. You gave a great lecture earlier this week. You've come down to Ottawa and lecture. How can they find your stuff, Craig Bergman?
Well, just find me on Facebook or America's Wake Up Call on Twitter, and americaswakeupcall.com will be going live with my podcast radio returning shortly.
Well, we might have to bring these guys in next Sunday at the eve of the great presidential inauguration. Thanks for joining. Stay tuned for Leg 2, guys. Make America Healthy Again coming up next. You are listening to the Jacobson Report on primetime Sunday nights, our anchor leg here, 1220, 103.7 FM, and listen live on KOFO.com. Tell your friends about this show by getting on KOFO.com and pulling in the podcast. For Blake Griffin, this is John Jacobson saying, be safe, be smart, be good, be strong, love Jesus Christ always, and God bless us, everyone. Till we meet again, bye-bye. The Jacobson Report is sponsored by Jim and Cindy Jandren through Midwest Renewable Energy, LLC, ethanol renewable fuels out of eastern Nebraska. Energy for a strong America is lean, it's clean, and it's green. Protecting farm families across America with revenue vectors, making us less reliant on Mideast terror dollars, and making sure our food supply is in the hands of Americans, not corporate concentrationists. Midwest Renewable Energy, LLC, Energy for a Strong America, and also sponsored by Jim and Cindy Jandren and their largesse for Life Runners. Go to liferunners.org. Get your t-shirt, Run and Walk for Life, like my bride, the lovely and gracious Deborah Jacobson. Liferunners.org builds a culture of life, protecting life from womb to tomb, especially helping our expectant mothers and babies on the way in utero, including after they are born. Midwest Renewable Energy LLC and liferunners.org. Liferunners.org, helping mothers, expectant mothers and babies in the womb and on the way and after they are born.